Hello and welcome to another program in our Working the Puzzle series. I'm your host, Jennifer Vail-Storrs, and today I'm on site here at Super One Foods North here in Grand Rapids, and special thanks to Kurt Ogle and the staff for allowing us to be in here today. I'm visiting with a special guest. It's Jodi Nordland. She is with the University of Minnesota Extension Service, and she's going to talk about how to shop economically as well as healthy. And Jodi, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Now tell us a little bit about what you do with the Extension Service.
Okay, I work for a program called SNAP Ed, and SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and so that's formally known as food support or food stamps. And so we do education around trying to eat healthier on a budget, and I teach some cooking classes. I work in some of the schools, so I'm pretty busy. Yeah.
And I know you often give tours to students in your classes, and you go around the grocery stores, and you're going to take me around, and we're going to talk about different kinds of foods, how to be not only economical, but do things in a healthy way as well.
Yes, and you know, they're really connected, because if a person doesn't have their health, they're going to have to spend more money on health care.
Right.
So, you know, trying to eat as healthily as possible will hopefully help people keep from getting sick. So, so it goes hand in hand.
Sounds good. So we're going to start in the produce department.
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
So Jodi, we're going to start by the lettuce.
Yes.
So tell me, I know you want to talk about convenience versus...
Right.
Okay.
So one of the tips that we talk about when you're trying to save money shopping is that you pay for the convenience of pre-chopped, pre-washed, pre-torn food. And so let's just do a little experiment and see how much the pre-chopped and pre-washed romaine is as compared to the whole head of romaine.
Okay. So this says $2.99.
Right, and it's on sale, and it's 9 ounces, so that's $2.99 for 9 ounces. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the romaine.
Okay.
Okay. So that's just about 1.25 pounds. Okay. And now I've weighed this already.
Yes, because they are doing some remodeling here.
Yes.
So we're waiting for the scales.
Right. And this weighed about 1.25 pounds, so that's about 20 ounces, right?
Right.
And it's $1.99.
Okay.
So $1.99 for 20 ounces of romaine that you have to wash and cut, as opposed to $2.99 for 9 ounces of romaine that somebody else has washed and cut.
So obviously this is more expensive.
It is. But as with anything, nothing is either or. Because if you decide you're going to save money and you buy the head of romaine, but you don't ever use it because you run out of time, or you don't, for whatever reason, you don't have time to prepare it, then if that goes to waste, you're not saving any money.
Right.
So people have to decide, do they want to carve out time in their schedule to make sure that they can prepare the whole food, or will they be more likely to eat all of the romaine that
Comes in the bag.
Right. So you have to, that's up to you. Everybody's different, right?
Right.
So
yeah. Everybody has different lifestyles.
Right.
Some things work differently for
You might
others.
have the best intentions.
Right.
You know, I think we all have decided, oh, I'm gonna get a lot of fruits and veggies, and so you buy them, you put them in the fridge, and a week later you see them still sitting there, and you know, if you don't use them, you're not saving any money. So, and that kind of brings me to the idea of planning. Research shows that if you have a list of what you're going to buy at the store, that you're going to save, that's the best way to save money, is by having a list. So that means that you have to look at your pantry, your fridge, your freezer, and see what you already have, and then decide what you're going to prepare for the week, for example, and then make your list and stick to it.
They say impulse purchases in the grocery store is really easy to do, because you know it is. It's, you know, you're kind of your senses are bombarded when you come to the grocery store.
And we all do it.
You know,
and if you're hungry, that's another thing. If I'm hungry and I go shopping, I end up purchasing things that maybe they both are not good for my wallet nor for my health.
Right.
So I think that's pretty common. So having a list and sticking to it is really important.
Really key.
Yes.
Perfect. So we're on to the next station. So Jodi, we're still in the produce aisle, but we're going to talk a little bit about fruit now. We're going to talk about some strawberries.
Yes. Okay. So we see here that we have a pound of strawberries for $4.99. Okay.
Sounds pretty spendy.
It's pretty expensive. And one thing that you really want to do to save money in the produce section, again, is to buy fruits and vegetables that are in season. So this might not be the best season, the best time of year to buy fresh strawberries. Right. However, keep your eyes open. There are sales. But another thing that you can do is you can buy canned or frozen fruits and vegetables that oftentimes are much less expensive. Now, it might change what you're going to do with them a little bit. That's where your creativity comes in, but there's no reason why you shouldn't have strawberries if you want. You won't be eating them fresh maybe, but you can still put them in yogurt or
put them on pancakes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing, is to look at the seasonality and then check the frozen or the canned section.
Well, when we live in Minnesota, you know, we're in the dead of winter right now, so it does, you know, people still crave, you know, having those things.
I know, and you know, there are some fruits that are almost always
that you can always get at a reasonable price.
Right, and that would be citrus, apples. Right now, you find a lot of pears in the store. Bananas usually are fairly inexpensive. And citrus fruits this is actually the season for them, December, January. So that's why you see sometimes all kinds of interesting citrus fruits at the store during this time of year.
Right. So we're going to go check out the frozen strawberries.
Yes. So we'll remember these are $4.99 for 1 pound. Okay.
So Jodi, we're in the frozen food section now, and we're looking at strawberries, frozen strawberries. We were over in the produce, and we could get 16 ounces for $4.99.
Right.
And here we found 15 ounces for $2.69.
For $2.69. So that again shows it's a good example of how you can oftentimes buy frozen fruits and vegetables that are cheaper than the fresh. And what I like about frozen fruits and vegetables is that they are picked ripe and they are frozen right away. And they also will last in your freezer.
Right.
So if you don't eat all the fresh strawberries, for example, they might mold or go bad. These, as long as your freezer's working, they'll last a long time.
And I know you wanted to talk a little bit about bulk as well, because I know there's a huge bag down here.
Yes. Okay, so if, we hear that we should buy in bulk to save money, and yes, that can be very true, provided we're going to use it. And again, with frozen, if you have the space, this is 3 pounds of frozen strawberries for $8.99. So if you take the price of the fresh, 3 pounds would be about $15.
Right.
And so that's quite a big savings. And you need a little bit more money at the start to have it. But if you do careful planning and you're going to use it all the time, if you can afford it, this is a better deal.
Right. So, sounds good. So Jodi, it's Mexican tonight.
Excellent. I'm coming over for dinner.
So we're going to talk about the difference we've got black beans here.
Right. And so we have the same price. You have the low sodium.
Yep.
And I have the regular sodium. Same price. So in this case, it's not any more expensive to get the healthier option. And so let's just take a look at milligrams of sodium.
Mine is 180.
Okay, and mine is 370. So
that's a big difference.
When you look at the milligrams of sodium, that is a huge difference. It's 50%, but just looking at the numbers really kind of hits home. And a lot of convenience foods especially have higher sodium content. And I know I've heard maybe 85% of the sodium we take in is from pre-made foods, convenience foods, and not so much what you shake on your food. So,
makes sense.
Because people automatically will salt things, salt and pepper.
So what do you say to somebody who comes, okay, so I've never tried the low sodium before. Do you think there's a huge difference in the taste?
Not huge, especially if you're putting it in a soup or a hot dish or making tacos with beans, because you have so many other seasonings and flavors. If you have a can of green beans, for example, you will probably notice that there's less of the flavor that you get in the canned, the full sodium beans.
Sure.
So maybe you have to get used to it, but it really does cut down on sodium.
Right, and that's better for our blood pressure, I hear.
Exactly.
So, good example. So Jodi, we're walking through the frozen food section. We were just, talking about beans. So when we're talking about, a lot of the sodium that goes into, all of the frozen food section. So we're going to talk about a Mexican option.
Right, because we were going to make some Mexican dish with the black beans.
Yes.
Okay.
So we see something here. This is the Hungry Man Mexican style fiesta.
Right. Okay.
So we're still making Mexican.
Look, how many servings does this have? It's one package.
Okay.
So presumably it serves one person.
Right.
For $3.99.
$3.19.
Or $3.19.
Yep.
So that's not too cheap.
Right.
And then take a look at the sodium. How much sodium?
1,370 milligrams. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Because what's our daily? Do you know what our daily is?
No.
Okay. But I know that this is probably really close to, probably over what we're supposed to be eating daily.
Absolutely. Well, it says here it's 57% of our daily recommended value amount.
So you've ate over half of it right here.
Over half of your sodium allotment for the day, and that's for someone who's healthy.
Right.
If someone has high blood pressure or any issues like that, their doctor would probably recommend eating less sodium.
So that would probably mean, less shopping in this whole aisle altogether.
Right. I think that these pre-made meals are definitely for emergency type situations, both from a health perspective and a cost perspective. And so it's maybe an aisle to steer clear of if you're trying to save money and eat more healthy.
But we talked about it, you know, we could put our beans in the crock pot, and you know, we could have had a meal ready for us when we come home.
Right.
For time, you know, we really can't say that's, you know, as much of an issue. I mean, it takes time in the morning. You have to be well organized.
It comes down to planning. So if you know you want to have a crock pot meal ready for supper when everybody gets home from work, that just becomes a part of your planning. And so if that means you get up a little earlier in the morning, then that's what you have to do. But it can be done, but it does take planning and a little extra time. But I think people are happy with the results, you know.
So Jodi, why don't you give us a few other tips that people can take with them about how to shop on a budget.
Okay.
Healthy on a budget.
Okay. So it's kind of a lot of things that we mentioned. So plan your meals before you go to the grocery store. See what you have in your house and make a meal plan.
Have a list.
And
don't shop when you're hungry.
Don't shop when you're hungry, and try not to make a grocery store stop every day, because you're going to spend a lot more money.
Right.
That's where the planning comes in to play. And also, especially if you don't have that much time to cook, you can do the crock pot meal in the morning. It's all ready when you get home. There's minimal chopping and whatever usually with those meals. And another thing that I like to do is, let's say a day where I might have more time, on a Sunday, for example, I might make a big pot of soup or stew, and I eat it throughout the week. But you can also make foods that you can freeze. So maybe you have the soup for one night, 2 nights, but you can freeze the rest of it and then take it out. That's pretty convenient, you know, to have that option. So I recommend that as something to do. Another thing, we haven't talked about coupons, but all the stores in town, if you notice, there might be coupons, or they'll have different
flyers,
sales going on. So check that out. I tend to avoid manufacturers' coupons from like magazines or whatever. Those are oftentimes higher priced foods anyway, and they're maybe not the healthiest.
Sure.
But we want to look for coupons on things like meat or vegetables, fruits, that kind of thing.
Things that you find on the outskirts of the grocery store. They always tell you to, you know, shop, you know, the boundaries of you know, versus the inside where more of your processed foods are.
That's a very good point.
Okay.
And if a person is trying to eat more healthy and save money, you know, avoid the snack aisles, because those foods they're more expensive, and typically they don't give us any of the nutrients, protein, or whatever that we need to stay healthy. So,
and maybe the same with the drink aisle. I mean, you've got a whole aisle of, you know, beverages, whereas water's free.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And we're standing in the dairy aisle, and you know, milk's a pretty good option, but you know, the other, you know, your sports drinks and your sodas and your, you know, all those things are, you know,
they're really extras
that we don't, none of us need.
Right. And I would say if someone, goal setting is a good way to try to make some of these changes, but I would say not setting huge goals that are nearly impossible to fulfill, but start small.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. So let's say you're a person who doesn't cook at all. You buy all convenience foods, or you stop at the fast food restaurant or whatever. So for you to say, I'm going to cook every day this week, that's a pretty big change, and that'd be a very hard change to make. So maybe say, I'm going to cook one meal a week, or maybe you never take your homemade lunch to work, and you always buy something from the vending machine or from a restaurant across the street or something. Just say, okay, I'm gonna bring a sandwich and some, carrot sticks or whatever. Got to keep it healthy. Bring your own lunch that you've prepared to work.
They saves a ton
of money.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, we're gonna finish it off, but we're gonna finish our show back in the produce aisle.
Okay.
So, Jodi, probably an important thing to note is there are other ways to help supplement your food budget.
Yes,
Can you
absolutely.
talk about some of those?
Sure. One way is with SNAP benefits. I mentioned that earlier, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Mm-hmm. So a person can apply online. You can contact a local food shelf and they can help you. You can contact social services and they can help you see if you're eligible, and you can receive benefits. And you receive the benefits on a card, an EBT card, an electronic benefit card, so it's not, in years past, it was...
There was more of a stigma attached to it.
And so it's just like a debit card you can use. Also, I encourage all parents to apply or fill out the paperwork with their school for free and reduced lunch. That's another really good program, and again, it's private. The
kids just get a number and they go in with it.
And they go right through.
With their
but that can really help with your food budget. Visiting your local food shelf. I know there's several throughout Itasca County, and visits to the food shelf aren't necessarily meant to be your only source of food, but it can really help if you are coming up short at the end of the month or something. It can, and the food shelf, especially in Grand Rapids, I know they do have a lot of really good, healthy food. They have a lot of food that's donated from local grocery stores, so that's a good option. And then there's Ruby's Pantry, which you mentioned. I'm not sure where the locations of those are.
Well, I know they're at Our Redeemer Lutheran Church in Cohasset.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. I think it's on Tuesdays, maybe once a month or twice a month. I'm not sure. Okay. But people could look that up or ask questions.
Right.
And find that pretty quickly.
Yep. And this isn't the season for the farmers market, but they also have an awesome program for people who receive SNAP benefits. So you can spend up to $10 of your own money, and then you can receive Mighty Market bucks or dollars that they've done some fundraising for, and you can receive up to, last summer it was $20 extra if you spent 10, so that would have been $30.
That's a big chunk.
And we know that the food there also is that's right from the farm, super fresh, very nutritious, very good.
Absolutely.
So,
well, this has been fun.
Yes.
I've enjoyed, walking around and getting tips from you, Jodi. Is there anything that we missed that you might want to point out that I forgot to ask you about?
Well, I just thought if someone is having a hard time finding recipes, for example, the USDA has a website where you can, it's called the Mixing Bowl, and if you just Google USDA recipes, it will take you there, and they have lots of recipes that are inexpensive to make. Look for some of my classes. We have a lot of fun. We cook and learn really just basic cooking techniques, so it's not hard for people to transition from no cooking to, being able to put out a really nice meal. So
great. Well, this has been fun, and I really appreciate you taking the time to show viewers, ways to eat healthy and economically. So
thank you. It's fun. It was fun.
Thank you. So I want to thank you for watching another program in our series, Working the Puzzle. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.